All right, Shalom. It's the brother Kayat from the GMS, New Orleans, coming back at you with another quick lesson. Prior to getting started, as I always do, like to give infinite honors and prayers to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rikakwadash, the honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and salutation to the Akams that's pushing the truth and sincerity. Hopefully this video be edifying first and foremost to the hopefully elect, then to those that cleave to the body. I won't get into this article on Newsbreak app, Market Insider under business. It was posted like 5 hours ago. It says central banks are leading a revolt against the US dollar and shifting to gold at a record pace, market expert says. Which, when you follow this fiat currency collapse, all right, this US dollar collapse closely, all right, which the central banks, remember that they also are they that print the money. Okay, so the attack that's on the US dollar, all right, from these other nations, and remember, every nation, all right, they all come to the table, even though they're at odds with the media and what they give to the people. All right, they have the same agenda, man. Okay, you have a small group, a remnant of people that's ruling the world, so all things are funneled through them, man. Right? They make it look like nation is against nation, all right, people is against people, but yet and still they're making all the calls, man. Everybody is in league with each other. Okay, so they're doing a demolition on a dollar. All right, we have to understand that this is this is the Lord's work. Okay, and that the powers that be are ordained of the Lord, which he causes them to basically come up with their decisions, as they commune and lay snares privily, all right, to take away that which they have set in place. All right, this is an inside job, man. Okay, people believe, the banks just doing this, they're against this, Russia don't want to deal with the dollar no more. Well, it's all planned out like that, man. Russia and America are friends. Now, due to biblical prophecy, okay, they're all going to go to war with each other, man. But that don't mean that they're not. Both sides are funded by the men that control and rule the earth, man. Okay? Which are these main banking families. That's why with the central banks going away from the US dollar and shifting to gold, right, which they're not going to shift to gold. We know ultimately what they're going to shift to, all right? Because people ain't got Bitcoin and gold and different things thinking, okay, if the dollar collapse, then we have to be by default going to go to another source of money. With silver and gold, that shit really don't have no value no more. And all the value that it does have, the wicked, okay, the wicked elites have hoarded it up. So the people can't get it. That way they won't be able to what? Buy and sell. Because they have a buy and sell system that they're selling up. All right, which is, which you should know, as we've been saying over the years, which is the what? The MOTB, man. Okay? That digital dollar. All right? But they'll make it look as if they're shifting the particular things, but the whole goal is to collapse the US dollar. But let me read into some of this article, so I get from rambling. It says, central banks are turning away from the US dollar and shifting to gold. Rucher Shamaru. Central banks account for a record 33% of monthly global demand for gold, he said in the FT. Thus, the oldest and most traditional of assets, gold is now a vehicle of central bank revolt against the US dollar. Now, there's no need to the revolt against the US dollar because the US dollar is in debt. Okay? All right? It's a token of debt. So what they have to do is go to another form of currency. Okay? So they have the other nations as if they're not dealing with the dollar anymore. That way they can introduce another form of currency, a world currency, because the US dollar is a world currency. Okay? Currently it's collapsing and it has lost its value tremendously But we all know the dollar is still in control today. Yes, it's weak, okay? Yes, it's falling off, but still today, right now, the US dollar is still the main world currency. All right. It says this is illustrated when taking account of recent trends in gold. The safe haven commodity has surged 20% in the last half year, which it says, but demand is coming from central banks reducing their dollar holdings, not the usual suspects, made up of large and small investors. The chair of Rockefeller International wrote the Financial Times on Sunday. What is the chair of Rockefeller? You know, just pay attention, man. It says, in fact, central banks account for a record 33% of monthly global demand for gold and are buying more gold at any time since data began in 1950, he added. This buying boom has helped push the price of gold to near record levels and more than 50% higher than what models based on real interest rates would suggest, says Sharma. Clearly something new is driving gold prices. 9 of the top 10 central banks buying gold are in developing countries, including China, Russia, and India, he said, which all happens to be what? All happens to be enemies of America, man. Major enemies, major players. But we know these people to be major players as from a biblical standpoint, Ezekiel, right? Because whether they buy gold or not, they're not gonna regard it. Let me get that. Don't matter. Don't matter if y'all move into gold. I think it's in Ezekiel. They're not gonna regard your silver and gold anyways, man. It's Isaiah 13:17. It says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. So, again, whether this place barely up, it's not gonna be no gold and silver like people is thinking, man. All right, it's not gonna be that. It says those 3 countries, along with fellow BRICS nations, Brazil and South Africa, are also part of an effort to create a new currency that is separate from the dollar. So when you create a new currency, you have to institute a whole new format in which people buy and sell, because people were so accustomed to the dollar and the way you market that, all right, and sell, buy, commerce, business, right? The new currency is going to be in a digital manner. Everything is digital. I went in Foot Locker, right? You got lowly old Foot Locker, right? Get some tennis shoes. And they basically were like, look, we don't got receipts. Or like, yeah, just still give me a receipt in case I got to bring the shoes back or something is, you have an issue or whatever. I have an issue or whatever. I got a physical receipt. That's the best way to really show, all right? Because emails can get deleted. It could be glimpsed in the system. It could basically show like you never bought anything. And that's what's going to happen with the digital, all right? This digital dollar. It's going to be the same way. Things going to be digital. They're going to be able to delete, all right, remove, put up things that may have occurred, things that haven't occurred, all right? Just say, look, you haven't deposited anything. You don't have anything. All right, it could just be a glimpse in the system. But they was like, look, we're fully digital now. All right, they like, look, if you don't give us an email, all right, with your receipt, and that's what you got to do. You got to look at these small stores, these small businesses, all right, and see where they at. And a lot of them, you go to, they like, oh, we don't take cash no more. It's only card, Apple Pay. Everything is transferring over to that new digital way. It's not transferring over to gold. So this is just something they're throwing out there that people may grab, man. You see? But this is another step into the direction in which they want to do. But on the way to it, they're going to be deceitful. Now, you know Jake, or the average person can't go and get no real gold. They'll go get some tungsten gold or some fake watered down shit, but people can't get gold. Even these low grade eat them. They have a brick of gold, a real brick of gold. The rich got that, man. Let's just keep it fair and square, man. All right? And then to trade it, all right, in, how you gonna go give gold in for something digital, right? The gold has more value than that which is digital and just numbers on the screen, man. It says, thus the oldest and most traditional of assets, gold is now a vehicle of central bank revolt against the dollar. Sharma wrote, often in the past, both the dollar and gold have been seen as havens, but now gold is seen as much safer, right? Because even with the dollar, what they gonna say is subject to plagues. They're gonna come with everything in the book to why they should get rid of it. But remember, that never goes away. All right, until what? You die. Technically. And therefore, you don't seek out the debt anymore. Because debt is better than to die is better than to have debt. So to kill the dollar is better than it being in debt, which was set up through the nations, right? All right, this is Habakkuk 2:6. It says, and it reads, right? It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him with a taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that letteth himself with thick clay, all right, which that thick clay is heavy debts, man. Okay, it's heavy debts, man. All right, that's a debt. All right, and the reason why the banks are going into this, using this deceptive avenue they're using as if they buying gold up, you know, like it's just, come on, man, it's just obvious at this point, right? See, new currency. Let's see what this new currency say. It says Brazil's presidents want to end dollar dominance and banks call for BRICS nation to use their own currency. Yeah, you know, again, they stirring this thing up, man. This thing gonna get real heavy. All right. Let me finish this. All right. During the sharp banking crisis in March, which was another play on a collapse of the dollar, okay, to let you know your money not safe and that you're not fully insured, only $250,000 by the FDIC. Okay, everything is a connection to the other, man. You just gotta pay attention. The difference in the movement of the two has never been so large. He attributes the rush for gold to increased use of financial sanctions by the U.S. and its allies, with as much as 30% of nations facing sanctions from the U.S., European Union, Japan, and U.K. That's up from 10% in the 1990s. But after Russia invasion of Ukraine, the West froze the country's current assets and kicked it out of the SWIFT systems. Suddenly it was clear that any nation could be a target, Sharma wrote. It says, most notably, the Chinese yuan has been growing its international reach, which I think Russia made a pact, all right, to totally deal with the Chinese yuan, all right, and you got all these other nations dealing with other currencies, man, which by default creates a war, all right, because if you don't want to use my dollar and it was the world dominance, then guess what? You got to meet meet the wrath of the person who dollar you don't want to lose. Because if you lose the dollar, you lose the power technically, right? It says, but Sharma City cites another threat. The fact that the number of central banks attempting to create digital currencies has tripled in 3 years, which they have been highly successful in doing so. Okay? And you got I think it was a reverse ATM. People was putting money in, it was taking their money, man. Taking the dollars. It says the risk for America is that its overconfidence grows, fed by the no alternative story. That narrative rests on global trust and U.S. institutions and rule of law. But this is exactly what weaponizing the dollar has done so much to undermine. Sharma wrote. That's what they have done. They have basically weaponized the dollar, that people is going to be afraid to use it. Or if they're going to use it, it's going to be into a disadvantage. All right, because of the power of it or the lack thereof, right? Okay, there's no more power in the dollar. It says it rests also on the trust in this country's ability to pay its debts, but debt is also slipping, which is $1 trillion in debt, as its reliance on foreign funding keeps growing. Since others have been less wary of de-dollarization fears, citing that the trust and the greenback is difficult to replicate. It is. Commonwealth's Brad McMillan said even if a strong alternative was to emerge, it would take monumental effort and persuasion to replace the dollar. And rightfully so, because that new dollar, when that dollar leaves, there's a new system in place, which they already have the system in place. So the dollar has to collapse in order for them to implement that on the people totally, to where the people have to get it. It says that former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers said that the yuan is a threat to the U.S. dollar, largely because China isn't a predictable and reliable market. All right, I'll get this and get out of here. This is Revelation 13 and 16, and it says, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name, which is that MOTB, all right, that charagma. Okay, that's gonna be the new way of buying and selling, pursuant to the book of Sirach, the 27th chapter. Okay, which gonna stick close to sinning. All right, but these central banks is going with their move. All right, they knew the devil have it but a short time. All right, so he have to go with what he have to do, but the Lord is gonna speed him up for the elect's sake, and he would not be able to fill his belly, man. Okay, the Lord gonna interrupt his enterprise in the midst of it, but that pretty much was the point, man. Is they throwing all these curveballs on how everything is against the U.S. dollar. Look at the cognitive the cognitive the negative cognition that's against the dollar right now. All of a sudden, that's pretty interesting. But just brothers, keep your eyes open and continue to stay on these geopolitics, man, because we know this is just follow the money trail, all right, and it'll give you the answer. So I'll be right there. That'll find. Till next time, I say shalom.